The moment he opened his mouth to sing, the entire room froze. A shy teenager standing nervously beside his singing partner didn't look like someone destined to shock millions. The judges on Britain's Got Talent weren't expecting much. The audience barely reacted when his name was announced. But then came that voice. Powerful. Almost impossible to believe was coming from someone so young. And honestly, within seconds, everything changed for Jonathan Antoine. But here's what most people don't realize. The story didn't end with applause. In many ways, that was only the beginning of a much deeper journey filled with pressure, insecurity, silence, and eventually, transformation. Long before the standing ovations, Jonathan Antoine was just a quiet boy growing up in England. Music became his safe place early in life. According to interviews over the years, he often struggled with confidence and reportedly dealt with bullying because of his appearance. While other children tried to fit in, Jonathan escaped into opera and classical music, a world that made him feel understood when real life often didn't. What makes this story different is that Jonathan never looked like the typical modern star. He wasn't polished. He wasn't trying to be cool. And that vulnerability became impossible to ignore. Everything changed in 2012 when Jonathan auditioned for Britain's Got Talent alongside his singing partner, Charlotte Jaconelli. At first, the judges seemed uncertain. Some viewers even remember seeing skeptical expressions before the performance began. But the second Jonathan started singing the prayer, the atmosphere completely shifted. The audience erupted. Even Simon Cowell appeared stunned. Overnight, clips of the auditions spread across the internet. Millions watched in disbelief. People weren't just reacting to the talent. They were reacting to the emotion. To the contrast between Jonathan's quiet personality and the enormous power of his voice. In many ways, audiences saw themselves in him. Someone underestimated. Someone judged too quickly. But fame moves fast. And sometimes, too fast. Behind the scenes, Jonathan reportedly struggled with the sudden attention. Interviews, media appearances, public scrutiny, it all arrived almost instantly. According to many who followed his journey, the pressure became overwhelming. The internet praised his voice while simultaneously criticizing his appearance. And honestly, for someone already battling self-confidence, that level of exposure can leave deep scars. One of the defining moments came after Jonathan and Charlotte eventually finished as runners-up on the show. While many contestants disappear after reality television, Jonathan's story took a surprising turn. Simon Cowell reportedly offered him a solo record deal, but not Charlotte. For fans, it became an emotional and controversial moment. Some believed it marked the painful beginning of their separation as a duo. And for Jonathan himself, the transition reportedly wasn't easy. Suddenly, he had to step onto stages alone. No partner beside him. No shared spotlight. No safety net. But here's where the story becomes truly fascinating. Instead of collapsing under the pressure, Jonathan slowly began transforming. Over the years, audiences noticed major changes. He lost weight, became more confident, more comfortable speaking publicly. His performances matured emotionally. In many ways, it felt like viewers were watching someone slowly step out of the shadow of self-doubt. Still, there were quieter periods too. Moments when public attention faded. Moments when people wondered what happened to him. And honestly, that silence may have been necessary. Because unlike many viral stars chasing constant attention, Jonathan appeared to focus on growth rather than fame. He continued training, performing, and evolving as an artist. Many believe those years away from non-stop headlines helped him rediscover who he really was outside television. Today, Jonathan Antoine stands as more than just a talent show success story. His voice remains extraordinary. But what continues inspiring people is something deeper: resilience. He represents the idea that confidence isn't always instant. Sometimes it's built slowly, painfully, quietly. And perhaps that's why audiences still connect with him years later. Because Jonathan Antoine's journey was never simply about hitting impossible notes. It was about overcoming the voice in his own head that once told him he wasn't enough. And maybe that's the reason his comeback feels so powerful. Not because he returned louder, but because he returned stronger. If you enjoyed this documentary, let us know in the comments which moment of Jonathan Antoine's journey inspired you the most. And subscribe for more cinematic stories about fame, struggle, and the hidden side of extraordinary lives.